All right. So, Activision had just released the path to Season 2. These aren't the full patch notes, which should be coming on February 8th, I believe. But I just wanted to give a quick summary and kind of my inputs on the changes that they're actually making. And just a disclaimer, I am a little sick, so if I sound nasally or gross, I'm sorry. But let's just get into it. So, they're making a few global changes to everything. So just some crashes and stability errors. The audio is getting changed a little bit. They had some issue with the audio channels not lining up, so they made like PC audio stereo. And basically, what was happening was small items like staplers or a pile of rags on the ground were actually dampening footsteps and causing their system to kind of malfunction. So hopefully we should get more consistent audio across the whole thing. And hopefully that's what the skill-based audio actually was instead of actually being skill-based audio, which would suck. They made some UI changes that'll just make everything a lot better. And then they added a better after action report. The play again feature is now finally in the battle royale, and then they did some bug fixes for stuff. They're weapon balancing, but we don't know really anything about that yet. Those will be in the patch notes on February 8th. So battle royale, basically they're changing everything back to the first Warzone, which I think is a really good thing. They had a lot of great things about Warzone 1. That's why it was so successful. And then when Warzone 2 came around, they were like, hey, we need to change a bunch of stuff because it's Warzone 2. It's a different game. Which, no, you don't need to change a bunch of stuff. If stuff was working before, why would you change it and make your entire player base mad? And then have to do a bunch of work to go back on yourself and change it back to the way people actually wanted it and were enjoying it. It just seems like a baffling concept to me how AAA games are now doing this. Overwatch 2 did this. It's like all the new games that are coming out, or the, like, sequels of games, apparently, they're changing a bunch of stuff just for the sake of changing it and being new, when that's not what really people want. They just want a good overall experience that works. And you already had a system and then you change it and now it doesn't work. Anyway, they're just changing a bunch of stuff. Gulag is 1v1 again, which is great. It'll be like in the first Warzone, and then it'll grant a larger cash reward when you win. So you'll be able to buy your primary weapon and stuff. Cash economy, so basically they're nerfing contracts, but they're increasing the ground loot of cash. So they're basically increasing the minimums. So contracts will give less, but ground loot will be more for cash. And then they're changing the looting system and inventory back to what it sounds like it's back to Warzone 1. It's going to drop loot on the ground, and then you should have like an overall backpack. There's none of this medium, large backpack stuff. You don't have to rummage through other players' backpacks, which, again, why are we changing things that worked and people loved just for the sake of change? It sounds like a whole bunch more work to just go all the way back on yourself and have to recode it to be the way it was before. So they're making loadouts cheaper, but it's also respective to squad sizes. So I'm guessing that 4-mans are going to be more expensive than solo loadout drops. And they're also changing the perk packages. So I think you'll be able to choose your perks, but it does say they have slightly reduced the pool of available perks. They're either going to get rid of Quick Fix or Ghost, because those are the two most widely used things. And why would we ever allow our players to have fun with the perks that they want? I don't know. We don't know what perks are going to be narrowed down, but it just sounds like they're going to get rid of the two strongest ones. Additional changes, 3-plate vests. So now you can only have a 3-plate vest. You'll start with a 3-plate vest, and there is no up or down to that. You'll always have 3 plates. That's a good change. That'll help with the time to kill, which I know a lot of people have been complaining about, that it's too fast, me included. There were rumors that they were increasing the health from 100 to 150, but that's not confirmed anywhere in this, so we don't know that for sure. Movement. Now, a lot of people were hoping this was going to mean that they're going to add sprinting back to plating, like so you can plate while sprinting. No, they're just making sure you can bust through doors while plating, and they're not making you sprint, or they're not letting you sprint, but they are increasing the movement speed. Not fully what we wanted, but it is better to what we had previously, so hopefully that'll be a good change. And then they're just making buy stations more consistent across the map, and yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Strongholds, they sound like they're going to be changing the rewards slightly, and they're adjusting the AI to, it sounds like they're adjusting the AI to be easier, which a lot of people were asking for. And then we don't know what the rewards will be changed to, if they're going to be nerfed or buffed. DMZ had a few changes. I'm not really going to go over that a whole lot, just because I don't really play DMZ, and I don't think it's as popular mode as some of the other ones. But basically, I think they're making the AI a bit easier. The spawn points should be better, and mission difficulty is also going to be easier, so they're just making the game easier. Crashes, season refresh, so you're basically getting reset everything. Your contraband and keys are all getting reset, and then it sounds like they're adding a new zone, so where you can deploy, and I think that's building 21. Anyway, multiplayer. The audio I already touched on. They're changing the perks. They're reducing the perk bonus cost by 50% and the ultimate bonus by 25%. So this is making the first perk you get 50% faster, and then the ultimate is 25% faster than it was previously. Again, we need to just listen to the community and change it so you get them immediately when the game starts. I don't know why we're beating around the bush and saying, oh, we built this new system that we think is great, but our player base hates, but we're not going to change it just because we like the system. I don't think that's a good way of making games when your player base is who's actually going to be playing the game and has to care about how the game plays. Anyway, they're having weapon balancing, obviously. Hardcore is getting added and will replace tier 1, which thank God for that, because I know a lot of hardcore players that were really mad because tier 1 was not a good replacement for hardcore at all. It was not an excuse to not there's no excuse to not have hardcore. Now, why are they taking tier 1 out when it's already in the game and replacing it with hardcore instead of just having both? I don't know. I think that would be the better option, but I just don't know, really how coding works and stuff. So maybe that would just be too hard to implement. Maybe it would be too rough on their servers. Regardless, I think they should have both of them just so people can choose. The playlist updates are going to have Valentine's Day, obviously. And then the big thing is that they are going to be creating a Twitter poll at least once a week for every single month. So once per month. And then players could vote on that week's playlist, so we're not going to have any random, oh, we're just going to remove Shoot House, or we're just going to remove Shipment and add Shoot House when no one wanted that. We're not going to have that anymore, at least for 1 week. Ranked play is finally coming. Again, that needed to be at the start of the game. They needed to implement that when the game first came out. But the reason I think they're kind of holding themselves back is because this is a 2-year game. They're not making a Call of Duty next year. This needs to last 2 years. This Call of Duty needs to last 2 years. And I think they're purposely holding stuff back. Yeah, it might make players mad right at the start, and rightfully so. They're not getting the content that they deserve and expect at a release. But they're adding it later so people will come back to the game. And that'll kind of preserve its life cycle. Not a great way, in my opinion. It's not the best way to increase your player base for longer. just because I think it's a really scummy thing to do. And you should really be making new content to hold your players instead of releasing stuff late that should have been in the game at launch. But regardless, we finally have ranked play. I'll definitely be playing some of that with ARs, not just snipers, to see how good I actually am. Should be interesting. And then looking ahead, there's going to be a brand new map, obviously, that got leaked quite a while back. And then it's been rumored that there's going to be 5 to 6 guns in the new battle pass. Again, that's not fully confirmed by them yet, but it sounds like there's going to be 5 to 6 guns that you can unlock. And yeah, that's basically it. I think this is a really good step forward. I think telling your player base ahead of time what you're doing and why you're making those changes is a really good thing. And hopefully they keep doing this in the future and continue to listen to the player base. I think that will really increase the lifespan of their game. Still no gunfight, though, which is a bit sad. But regardless, subscribe because I want more G Fuel. And I'll see you guys later.